Uncle Heavy, we saw last in the Wood Memorial, and has been on the New York Derby circuit, and has had some mixed results, I guess you could say. He resides in comes out of Parks for Butch Reed, and when Butch Reed does ship, he means business, and we did find that out in the Withers, and hopefully. For those of you who like Uncle Heavy, he can rebound. He's a late runner. We'll take a look at his pedigree, and you can see he's by Social Inclusion, who interestingly enough took the same path to the Preakness, where he finished third. Ran in the Wood Memorial as well. I think he ran the Withers as well. So it's a very similar pattern. Social Inclusion, not really known for getting two-turn horses per se, but he does have, he comes out of the Pioneer of the Nile line, so there is some stamina. Expect Wonderful had one win in 6 starts, and had not a very prosperous race career. But again, she's by Tis Wonderful through Tis Now, so I think there is some stamina here. Although it just, to me, when you say social inclusion, that's not something I think about. I guess that's probably the best way to put it. We look at the Conduit Mare profile. It's a little bit skewed towards stamina. So I think I'm going to believe, particularly as a late runner, that the distance isn't going to be a problem for Uncle Heavy. And we'll just take a look at the get. And you see for Social Inclusion, Uncle Heavy is one of the more successful runners he's had. He does have quite a few black type horses, and Gordian Knot was one that I believe was running in this as a sprinter for a little while, if I'm not mistaken. So it, not a really great stellar record as a sire, but who knows? Maybe Uncle Heavy is a precursor of things to come. Social Inclusion hasn't been a sire that long. And we look at the get for Uncle Heavy's dam, and you see he's the only other. There's only 2 of them, and Roan Burgundy was out of the factor and had an okay career. 89,000 is a pretty good, I suppose. 3 wins out of 16 starts. So from this perspective, we don't get real excited about the bloodline, so we can concentrate more on Uncle Heavy as a horse, I think. We take a look at the Equibase, and one of the things that jumps out right away is that you see a debut 86 speed figure in the October maiden special weight, and then the Wood Memorial ran it again. So that's a little bit on the troubling side. Obviously, it was a regression. You see that kind of bounced when he went into the Pennsylvania Nursery Stakes, where he finished 5th, but he got to a 62. But then you see the makings of some promise here, with 2 starts at 3 or 1 very late at 2, and then the debut at 3 with a career high, which you always like to see. The problem is in the Wood Memorial, didn't follow it up with a very good finish. Finished a non-eventful 5th. So we definitely need a rebound in the Preakness if Uncle Heavy is to be a contender. So what we're going to do, we're going to take a look at the Withers, and then we'll take look at the Wood Memorial and see if we can find some clues as to maybe it wasn't just a regression off the Withers. Maybe there were some traffic issues or whatnot. So let's have a look. So now let's take a look at the Withers Stakes, and this was run back in February, and you can see it was kind of a muddy, sloppy track, not surprising for New York in the winter. Uncle Heavy is the number 8.
For the Withers. And they're off. And off slowly there was
Uncle Heavy got a good break, and it's interesting. He's
right out to the front.
It appears like he wanted to rate,
the rail. They're in about the 4,
and they're just kind of content to got carried for what 4 or 5 wide.
Here comes Contender, who's going to have a wide journey, is 3rd.
They're just content to sit back.
Inside his Deposition, who's tucked right in behind those leaders. Also on a snug hold is Light Line as they really back off that early speed. In behind them comes Society Man, very tightly bunched here. Up on the outside, Uncle Heavy is going to be 4 wide as they move to the backstretch. Speed Runner with the trailer. After the start, Mission Beach has about 7 lengths to make up.
And this race has turned out really not to be the greatest of races when you consider Seminole Chief and Light Line really haven't come back for much. And
Conate is right there. These 3 now across the racetrack. Uncle Heavy is still wide.
However, let's think about Uncle Heavy. And you can see he's moved up a little bit. He's a little closer to things than perhaps we recall. I certainly remember him being a little further back, so it's good we're watching this again.
And now Conate. They press on, and Conate's still ahead in front. Right to the inside, El Grandeo. Seminole Chief starts to lose some ground. Uncle Heavy is on the move from 4th. Here comes Uncle Heavy is about to take 3rd. Deposition is all in. Lightline is trying to make a move.
You see the pace is pretty slow, 49 and 2 for the half.
Is Speedrunner. Conate has the lead, and El Grandeo is still trying to get back in front. Uncle Heavy is all in, is not cutting into the margin. Lightline is starting a rally here for Manny Franco. Is going to be a touch wide, but the front 2 have not come back to the field.
You can see here, it doesn't look like he's working terribly hard to get Uncle Heavy going, so that's always a good sign, of course.
Uncle Heavy is trying to commence
and let's just see if he can catch him. 114 and 2. That's extremely slow. And you see, once they got a pass for Uncle Heavy, he engaged pretty well.
Uncle Heavy in between horses. Deposition on the far outside. Lightline right there. El Grandeo needs the wire. Uncle Heavy late. It's a photo finish.
Just got him. And that was the story for El Grandeo. The whole, all the Derby preps, same thing, close but no cigar. But good driving effort. Showed some nice acceleration, but 153, that's a pretty slow time. So slow all the way around. So let's take a look at the Wood. So here's the Wood Memorial, and as we recall, Uncle Heavy is in the 13 hole, so he got parked way to the outside.
World Casino.
In the Withers, he had been about mid-pack, so it does present a little bit of a challenge
Resilience right out
tactically
to the front.
to get to where he wants him to see.
And there's evening
they're going to just try and take him a little further back this time.
Push the tempo. Resilience is going to take back. Just had to check briefly there in second. Outside of that one comes Lonesome Boy. Then comes Deterministic, who settled into 4th. Is to the inside of Society Man, who's now a shared 4th. They share that 4th and 5th position. A little rank early that was Merritt, who's to the outside of Gettysburg Addresses in the lime green silks, light blue silks there with Deposition out wider. Tuscan Sky is towards the tail end. Uncle Heavy is at the back end of the field there with Protective and the trailer. Elysian Meadows, they work up the backstretch. Evening News has got the lead. Pressure here from Lonesome Boy. The 2 long shots went 23.45 for the opening quarter mile. Resilience is settling off of them, is now patiently ridden by John Velasquez from
up
3rd.
A bit.
Then behind them, at the rail is Deterministic, still sharing that spot with Society Man.
I think it's a little troubling to me as the pace was a little brisker in this one, and that should have been in Uncle Heavy's favor.
They went 47.49 for a half mile time.
47
They've got to catch
for
the
the
big
half,
long
and
shots.
that's almost
Evening
a
News and
full
Lonesome
2
Boy, who's
seconds
under a
faster.
drive. Here comes Resilience moving in closer. Deterministic
will
will need somewhere to go.
Going.
Deposition is in the hunt. Society Man, Orange Cap is splitting rivals. Uncle Heavy, Tuscan Sky, Protective from the back of the field. They're all making a charge for the lead. Lonesome Boy will have the lead here with Resilience, and
really
now
no
Resilience presses
for,
on. And Resilience
we knew he was
going to
get carried wide, but that often happens with closers, so I wouldn't really call it an excuse.
We had a spill there.
Of course, we did have the spill, so
it was Resilience who's opening up, is up by 2.5.
Looks like it may have impacted Uncle Heavy to a degree.
Protective. Resilience
I'm
is
sorry we
drifting
can't
out.
see
It's
it.
Resilience
Obviously
who's
we
clear
don't want
is
to, but
up
thank
by
God
3 lengths
Deposition's
now.
okay.
Resilience will win the Wood. Society Man second. Protective Lonesome Boy is going to
So I mean, he
finish
ran.
fourth.
I guess he ran an okay race, but it certainly wasn't good speed wise as the Withers. So I'd have to call that a disappointing effort. All in all, not very good coming into the Preakness with that. So if we talk about issues and concerns for Uncle Heavy heading into the Preakness, class would certainly, to me, would have to be one because in retrospect, if you look at the Withers, that was a pretty slow race all the way around, and he closed into a slow pace, which initially would give you some thought that maybe this horse is better, that has some ability and has some upside, but really didn't follow it up very well in the Wood. And honestly, that race was tailor-made with a much faster pace. And he, may have had some issues with deposition going down. He may have got caught up in that a little bit. I'm sorry that we couldn't see it for obvious reasons. And I don't recall in watching it initially whether or not that was the case. But really, more troubling is it just seemed kind of a flat effort, and he really flattened out in the stretch in a race that he should have done better in. So I would have to believe that it's the Withers, or following the Withers. I think there were a couple of things. I think he regressed off his career high, and that was significantly higher than he had run before. So that isn't a big surprise that he would regress. Now, the real question is can he rebound? Well, just off the top of my head right now, I'm not thinking there's a whole lot of pace going into the Preakness. So that should be a concern for Uncle Heavy, being probably going to be a late runner. And then you do have Catching Freedom, as well as Tuscan Gold, and there's other late runners in the race, which also Muddy Sinks Mugatu, and even Mystic Dan, I guess you could call a late runner because he'll skim the rail, as we know. So race shape-wise, probably doesn't set up terribly well for Uncle Heavy. And more to me, class and speed, I think he's going to have to run another career race. And then the question is, does he have it in him? And I don't know. I'm not very optimistic on his chances, especially since there's really not a lot of pace signed on for the race. But we'll see.